I've got to talk about the second failed attempt by a particular city that seems to be setting the example for another widely reported on city, which is New York City. We remember the whole idea of the mayoral race and grocery stores need to be government run. Well, Kansas City actually tried that and it didn't work. It is not too difficult to imagine why it didn't work, but just the baseline point, we've covered this at length, it didn't work. Well, one of the other things that is being proposed in the Big Apple is free buses for everyone. Interestingly enough, also tried in Kansas City, and the $50 million program for free buses in Kansas City is now being terminated because it didn't work. In other words, 0 for 2 in the proposals in the Big Apple, New York City, saying, hey, we're going to do all these things. Well, Kansas City's already tried them and it didn't work. They started the free bus program after they got a bunch of COVID money, which for some reason didn't go towards things having to do with COVID. It was just another slush fund for, giving free things to people who don't deserve them. But that's beside the point. The main thing is that they figured out that, well, if you give free bus rides to people, it just turns into rolling homeless shelters throughout the city. It was dangerous, it didn't work, and it was too pricey to make work. Now, there was a pilot program to do this very sort of thing in New York City, and it lasted for about a year, and guess what? Also didn't work. The bottom line here is that giving people free things, government mandated, doesn't freaking work, and yet libs continue to try it over and over and over again, despite the many examples of, I hate to repeat myself, them not working. Here to comment on that and so much more is host of the Morgan Report, Jenna Morgan, and Stephanie Hamill, political commentator. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Good to see you.
Stephanie, I want to start with you here. Just your thoughts here of the idea that giving people more free stuff actually, one, will work, and two, be effective. Why is this something that libs keep going back to and back to, considering the fact that it hasn't worked really anywhere it's been tried ever?
Exactly. Every time I read stories like this, I feel like I start to turn into that exploding head emoji. And it really irritates me because it's so easy to find this information. Everyone has a cell phone. They can use Google to do a quick search. Has a government-run grocery store ever worked? No, it doesn't. What about free buses? Doesn't work. And as you pointed out, socialism has worked in exactly 0 countries historically. In fact, it has had some serious consequences and it has killed hundreds of millions of people. So it really is crazy to me that this Mamdani character has so much support. It makes me sad. And I understand that young people are struggling and the rent is expensive and life is getting too expensive, but this is not the way out. This guy is a scammer.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good word for it, a scammer. I don't think you were making any sort of jokes there, but one could draw a conclusion to that joke if they wanted to in this particular instance. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Shedda, wow, got off the rails a little bit there. This is really interesting. The guy running for New York City mayor in 2023 supported this initiative to test a pilot. They're going to pilot run this. And the MTA in New York set up a free busing system to one of the boroughs, and they found out after they tried it for a year that, it didn't actually increase ridership, it made it more dangerous, and it went over its $15 million budget. Is any of that shocking to you? And again, same kind of question, why is this, having proven to not work, still on the table for consideration?
No, none of it is shocking at all. I mean, the more we get rid of any type of rules or regulations in New York City, which, by the way, barely anyone does follow the rules already here. People are already not paying for the buses. They're already not paying for the subway. And the more you take away someone not having to pay for something, the less they're going to value it. And the more it's going to attract relatively a lesser valued human being. And I think people are just very incentivized by him. For lack of a better words, I think Gen Z and a lot of people that live in New York are jealous and lazy. I hate to say it, but I've lived here for over 15 years. And if you can't afford a $2.75 bus fare or subway fare, I'm not sure why you live here. It is expensive. You do have to work hard. And if we just continue to allow this city to be like, let's make it more affordable, I understand it's unfortunate. I wish it was a little bit more affordable, but
Yeah.
you got to pay to play sometimes. And it's not going to work if we just start devaluing what it means to actually be a New Yorker and trying to tax the rich, which, by the way, we already do that in this city. And we're just going to lose the people that actually follow the rules.